Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, wherever you are. Today, we're going to be talking about media and information literacy, specifically the challenges and opportunities we have when it comes to fighting radicalization and polarization. So, buckle up because this is going to be a lot. Now, our topic for today is exactly that radicalization and polarization of audiences and citizens. These are two big words that sound really complicated. Don't worry, we're going to break them down one by one. And yes, I know, that's probably the faces most of you are making right now. Radicalization, polarization, what even are those? Now, don't worry because we're the same, but we're about to find out. Before we get into radicalization and polarization, we need to talk about what fuels them in the first place. And that is disinformation. Because disinformation is basically the engine behind all of this. So, disinformation. Here we go. Disinformation is not just wrong information. It's deliberately wrong and someone sat down and made it up and twisted the facts and put it out there with a specific agenda in mind. It's fake news with a purpose. It's not a mistake, it's a choice. Now, disinformation has real consequences. When people feel manipulated, when people are fed manipulated information consistently, radicalization and polarization are the two major outcomes we're looking at today. Think of them as think of them as the monsters that disinformation creates. So, what is radicalization? It starts here. With the two sides of every person, we all have a calm, rational, and a more reactive, emotional side. Radicalization is what happens when someone's reactive side gets pushed so far, it starts to take over completely. Radicalization is the process by which a person or a group adopts increasingly extreme beliefs, often to the point where they're willing to support or commit harmful acts. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, usually fueled by disinformation. One important thing to know is that radicalization happens at the individual or small group level. It's not a whole society that radicalizes at once. It starts with one person or a small circle of people being slowly pushed toward extremism. Radicalization involves moving towards extreme or absolute beliefs, the kind where there's no gray area, no middle ground, everything is black and white. My side is completely right, and your side is completely wrong. And this kind of thinking is dangerous. And a key sign of radicalization is that a person starts rejecting modern or balanced viewpoints entirely. Notice the diagram here. All those different perspectives being pushed away, and you're only left only inside your own bubble. Sound familiar? That's basically what echo chambers do. And radicalization almost always comes with a strong emotional or ideological commitment, meaning the person is deeply invested in their beliefs even when everything around them is on fire, like this dog. This is fine, everything is fine. A classic radicalized behavior, honestly. Radicalization may also involve justifying extreme actions or ideas, but, and this is important, not always in behavior. Sometimes it stays in the mind as a belief or an ideology, but the problem is beliefs can eventually translate into action if left unchecked. Here's a real example close to home. Philippine officials have flagged AI-assisted radicalization as an emerging threat, meaning AI tools are now being used to push people toward extremist content faster and more efficiently. It's gotten serious enough that legislation to restrict minors' digital access has been proposed. And internationally, two Canadian youths were placed under terrorism bonds after being linked to an online extremist group connected to school bomb threats. Now, these were adults. These were young people who were radicalized through the internet. That's how real this is. Now, let's shift our focus to polarization. Think about magnets. When the opposite poles meet, they attract and connect. But when the same poles face each other, they push apart. They repel. Polarization is basically society doing that second thing. Polarization is when society is divided into two opposing camps with little room in between. Think of something as simple as early birds versus night owls. Two sides, both convinced they're right. Now scale that up to politics, religion, or national issues, and that's polarization. Unlike radicalization, which starts at the individuals, polarization happens at the group or societal level. It's the whole community or even the whole country being split apart. Polarization creates two or more opposing sides that see each other as enemies, like chess pieces on opposite ends of the board, staring each other down, ready for conflict. Now, this is where it gets dangerous. Polarization leads us to a very us versus them thinking. It's no longer disagreeing on an issue, it's about seeing the other side as the enemy, as people who don't deserve respect or understanding. And when polarization sets in, the middle ground shrinks. There are fewer and fewer neutral people. The bridge between two sides literally collapses, and that's exactly what this image is showing. When the middle ground disappears, conflict becomes almost inevitable. And the entire focus becomes the division itself. It's not about solving problems anymore. It's just about screaming at the other side. Now, here's a real-world example of polarization. America versus Iran. One side calls their action self-defense. The other side calls it aggression. Both are absolutely convinced they are correct, and neither is willing to consider the other's perspectives. That's polarization at the international level. And right here at home, the Marcos versus Duterte situation, one camp calls it justice, the other calls it betrayal. The Philippines cannot agree on which is which. This is polarization playing out in real time in our own country. Now, if you're not a person who is media literate or someone who doesn't fact check sources, well, you might as well shoot yourself in the head. Now, I'm just kidding. There are actually ways to protect yourself, and that's what half of this presentation is all about. How to be media literate and the tools to make that makes it easier. Now, let's talk about the ways to be media literate and tools to make it easier to attain. First of all, don't be stupid. Yeah, it seems kind of obvious now, don't it? But you'd be surprised how many people miss it. Okay, so the first way to be a media literate, always check the source. Before you believe anything you read online, ask yourself, where did this come from? Who published it? Why? A lot of misinformation spreads because people just don't ask that question. Reliable sources are usually verified, and these are tools that do the verification for you. This is NewsGuards, which rates news websites based on their credibility and transparency. The BBC gets a 95 out of 100. That's a source you can generally trust. On the other hand, social media posts are usually not reliable. This blue sky post is a perfect example. It's making a very strong claim, but it's just one person's opinion with no verified sources attached. Sharing something like this without checking, that's how disinformation starts. Now, yeah. Second tip, look for evidence. Good information is backed by data studies or verified facts, not just strong opinions. Sites like Snopes exist exactly for this. They take viral claims, sites and fact check them with actual evidence. It's a claim. If a claim can't show you its receipts, be suspicious. Here's an actual Snopes article showing how they break down a claim step by step, cross-referencing official sources, doing the math, checking the timeline. This is what rigorous fact-checking tool looks like. It's not hard to do, and it saves you from spreading lies. Another thing to watch out for. If a claim sounds convincing but has an obvious gaps or missing context, that's a red flag. A claim should be able to hold up under basic scrutiny. If it can't, don't share it. Where is it? Third, compare multiple sources. Never rely on just one article or post. Check different news outlets, different websites, and see if the story holds up all of them. If only one source is reporting something, that's a warning sign. Now, this video is an example of checking multiple sources. Now, this here is a article in Snopes showing images of show fragments. As you can see, it's published by Taija Perico. And yes, they have posted quite a lot here. As you can see, that post also has a rating of true and different. It's quite a detailed post. Now, see images, there's groups, there's also it's basically an article that has everything you could see in it. Now, yes, let's just yes. See, it even has this original text, the Telegram channel. It shows us a lot of evidence, basically. Yes, there you go. It also shows where they got the images. Yeah, there you go. There's a lot of details in it. Now, this is what an article should look like. Everything has proof, they source where they got the images, and it's made by this. Now, let's move on to the next source. Now, this one is the same topic, but made by different journalists. Now, this is basically the same, but yes, this is how you check multiple different sources. Just search the same topic and look at different journalists who published it. Seeing more, as you can see, this is confirmed. So that's how you compare multiple sources. You need to look for it. Now, fourth, watch out for emotional manipulation. A lot of this information is specifically designed to make you feel angry, scared, or outraged. Because when you're emotional, you share without thinking. If something triggers a really strong reaction in you, that's a cue to pause and verify before anything else. So, you need to calm down and take a breather before sharing anything that might make you emotional. Next, bias. Every single source has some level of bias. Media literacy doesn't mean finding a source with zero bias. It means being able to recognize what perspective or agenda is behind the information you're reading. You need to understand. Next, and fifth, the simplest but most powerful rule: verify before sharing. If you're not sure if it's true, do not share it. That's it. That's the whole rule. You sharing something is putting your name on it. Make sure it deserves that. So now that you know the difference, know that you're not alone. There are actual tools to help you. These are your four weapons: Snopes, also Minet, Checkology, and NewsGuard. Now, yeah, there you go, and NewsGuard, so you can see that. Think of it as your inventory. Snopes is your sword: fast, direct, and lethal to misinformation. One search and a lie dies on the spot. Use it every time you see a suspicious claim floating around online. Now, here is a video of me using Snopes. Let's take a look at it. As you can see, this is the Snopes website, and I searched up in the search bar Iran versus US, and there's many articles about it, and you can pick them. They come from different sources. They source images circulated. Now that is a fake. Yep. So basically, Snopes is a good way to search if anything is incorrect. Now, NewsGuard. NewsGuard is your pickaxe. It doesn't just look at the surface. It digs into where news sources get its fundings, who owns it, and whether it has a history of spreading false information. Use it to evaluate the websites you visit. Now, this is an example of me using NewsGuard. Let's take a look at it. Oh, this is what the NewsGuard interface looks like. This is your account. Let's search up a random topic. As you can see, I'm just gonna search about Iran versus US, and as you can see there, see, it's a nutrition bar, and once you click on that, you can see the description on why they were given that rating. Now, see, proceed with caution. This is the usage of NewsGuard, basically confirming what you search up online. Now that we know this, let's move on to the next tool. Also Minute is your map. It literally shows you how this information spreads across social media, who's spreading it, how it connects, and where it started. It's a research tool, but incredibly powerful for understanding the bigger picture of how fake news travels. Now, this is my favorite kind of tool because the visualization genuinely struck accordingly. Let's look at it. Now, this is a video of me using also Minute. Let's see. Now, as you can see, I searched up war at the start date of January 2 with the end date of March 11. As you can see, all those little nodes are reposts. The lines are what connects the posts. Yes, you can see it's reposted. Oh, also that a reply. It basically shows how the pathway. The more you look at it, the more it starts to look like a virus, which is a bit ironic since this information is a virus in it of its own, and this website really puts into perspective how it spreads. Let's zoom out a bit. See, you can see all the posts there. When you zoom out, it looks like a microorganism of sorts, like a body, cells. propagating. There's the legends. You can also see what you want to see, reply if you only want to see the reply, if you only want to see the quotes. There's a lot of ways you can use this website. It's quite powerful and the visualization of it is really beautiful. It shows you just how it spreads, kind of like a virus. Not much mentions, and that's it. That's basically what also mean is. Now, let's move on to the next tool. Checkology. Checkology is your crafting table. It's where you learn all the skills before you ever need to use them in the real world. Think of it as media literacy training. Lessons, exercises, tools, all in one place. Now, this is a Checkology video of me using it. Now, let's see. As you can see, Checkology is a site where you can search up lessons, AI or not. I clicked this and it's a grade level. There's a bunch of stuff and there's a description, the vocabulary and essential. They also say that they also recommend related resources and you can click what grade level you are. Now, it literally shows you slides. I'm showing you a presentation through a presentation. It gives you free slides like this. So it's basically a free lesson. All you need to do is search for it because, of course, it's not going to find itself. This is very useful if you're looking for a topic or genuinely just want to know about it. Now, let's move on. And with that, thank you so much for listening. And I hope this gave you a clearer picture of what radicalization and polarization actually are, why they matter, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Stay critical, verify your sources, and please, don't be the person who spreads disinformation. We've all seen what that leads to. Thank you.
Hi, so now that we know what that is, what Mr. Abalde presented, now we're gonna be discussing the 5 core concepts about MIL. So, do you guys know that? Well, first of all, before we tackle the topic, let's explore or let's recap what MIL means. So what does MIL? What is MIL, Day? Well, MIL is media and information literacy helps us analyze, evaluate, and create media messages. So in the age of misinformation and infodemic, these concepts guides us into thinking critically. So we are in a very digital world where information can be spread fast, but also misinformation can also be spread quickly. So I'm gonna tell you a story on what happens when a person or someone don't have media and information literacy. So let me introduce to you let's name him Dumb Kitty. This is Dumb Kitty. Yeah, so, well, as most of us do every day, Dumb Kitty is scrolling in social media and then suddenly, whoa, he saw a post. It's a post about our President Rodrigo Duterte saying that alcohol or gasoline can be used as a disinfectant. And Kitty is like mind blown, like, whoa, gasoline can be a disinfectant? Like, and then, well, like, it's the president that said that, so he believed that, Dumb Kitty believed that, so he shared the post, and of course, because he believed it, guess, why wouldn't he? That's the president saying that, like, it's our president, I'm gonna trust him. Dumb Kitty said. And then Dumb Kitty tried because he loves President Rodrigo Duterte so much and believe him. So like he tried it, and then well, the Dumb Kitty died. So that's what happened when you believe something you see in the internet immediately, just because an influential public figure or someone you trust said that, and then you don't even think twice, you believe it immediately. So just like Dumb Kitty, you might end up dead. So now what happens when someone has media and information literacy? So let me present to you, this is our another character. This is Smart Kitty. Why is he Smart Kitty? Because he has glasses, like me. So, well, this is Smart Kitty. Smart Kitty, just like Dumb Kitty, was scrolling through social media, and whoa, Dumb Kitty also, Smart Kitty also came across that post of the president saying that gasoline can be used as a disinfectant. But Smart Kitty is smart. Like, Smart Kitty stops and like, let me think, is this true? Like, should I believe this? Like, it's the president, but like, I shouldn't believe him. Like, Smart Kitty really thought about it. And well, just to confirm it, Smart Kitty look up into the internet if it is true, if gasoline can be used as disinfectant. He researched about the topic and looked to reliable sources like the World Health Organization and the Department of Health of the Philippines, because in this case we're talking about health. Yeah, and then whoa, Smart Kitty discovered that it's not true. Like, gasoline can kill you. It's not a disinfectant that you can just, like, it's not true. So, well, unlike Dumb Kitty, Smart Kitty lived. And he lived happily ever after. Yeah, so that's what happens when you have a media and information literacy. You don't believe things that you see in the internet immediately. You stop and think about it first. You think critically. That's what media and information literate people do. So now that we know that, let's now go and discuss the 5 core concepts of MIL. So the first concept is all media messages are constructed. So what does that mean? Well, it means that someone creates it because someone created it. Media does not show reality as it is, because everything we see in the media, every information that we see, someone creates that. So, like, let me show you an example. So, if someone shows you this, if someone posts this picture and just decided to just show that one picture only, you might think that, oh my god, isn't he a British royal family? Why is he putting up the middle finger? Like, that's not appropriate. Well, this is what really happened. So, you see, choices were made on what to include and what to exclude because, well, someone created it. So it's important to remember that all media messages are constructed. So now let's now go to our second core concept, which is Media messages are constructed using a creative language with its own rules. So what does that mean? Media uses specific techniques like camera angles, music, lighting, colors, editing, etc. Let me show you an example so you get it. So here. Nandito na si Bong Revilla! Yeah. So as you can see there, the music is exciting, like it's upbeat, and the editing is fast. So in the language of the media, that means it's exciting. That media is exciting. And another example for this is this.
Hindi namin kayo tatantanan. Ako po ang inyong kapuso, Mike Enriquez. Totoong may paninindigan.
Gabay namin sa paghahatid ng serbisyo at katotohanan.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys heard that, but there was the music was sad, and yeah, the music was sad, something basta it's sad, and in the language of media it means it's emotional. Yeah, so as you can see there, close-ups were used to show emotion. The background music affects the mood or creates the mood, and filters and effects are also used to attract attention. So yeah, colors are also has a meaning in the media language. Like this happens especially in when we're associating someone with something. I'm gonna show you an example, like how we associate Lena Robredo with the color pink, kakam pink, yeah, and then red the Bongbong Marcos, yeah. So these techniques influence meaning. So as you can see for the previous example, red suddenly, the color red suddenly means it's associated to Bongbong Marcos. This happens a lot, especially in times of election or something. Yeah. So before we go to the third core concept, I'm gonna show you a picture, and maybe tell me your thoughts about it. That and then this. So now that you've given your opinion, or I don't know really if you've given it, but I'm sure that you guys have your own opinions about this. Can you please stop and think if you think everyone will agree to you about this? I mean, I think we can all say, or most of us can say, that all of us don't have the same opinion as yourself. Yeah, so why is that? It's because of the third core concept, which is different people experience the same media messages differently. So the audience are the ones that those are seeing the media or the information, but their interpretation varies. It varies according to their background. Like a person's background can influence how they understand something or the information, or how they view the information. Like the age, your age can influence your understanding, also as your culture and your beliefs also. Yeah, so yeah, it's because we are all our own persons. We think individually, so because of that, we're gonna be interpreting things differently talaga. So yeah, so now let's go to the fourth core concept, which is media have embedded values and point of view. Yeah. So what does that mean? So media reflects our values. Like um like what you post or what you share in the media can show or can really show your own values. Like you share something and you share that because it connects with your value, or maybe you post an opinion about something, it's gonna show your values. Like if you're gonna, yeah. So and it's also certain lifestyles are promoted because of this. Just like how Coca-Cola advertise ad- advertise their product here in the Philippines, it tends to be dramatic because it hits us because we are our Filipino values. We're very close to family. I mean it's the it's the Jollibee advertisement that's a bit like it hits close to home. Like it's about family love or something. It promotes certain lifestyle, just like Coke. Let's go back to Coke. They advertise Coke like like masarap lang yung birthday, handa sa birthday if may Coke, like something like that. Like they're embedding values into us, like or point of views into us. Like we cannot live without Coke now. Like okay. So also some voices are amplified, others are ignored. I'm gonna show you this Twitter trend tracker in the Philippines. As you can see here, from top 1 to all the way to the top 50, you cannot see any local problems that's trending or that's being discussed in Twitter. It's all in it's all entertainment. Like what it shows how we value entertainment, or Filipinos value entertainment more than our problems here. Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, so that's core concept number 4, no? So now we have core concept number 5, the last and but not least, which is most media messages are organized to gain profit and or power. So as you must have known that media is often business driven. Like we can see ads all over social media, or even as we walk outside or in the city, may makikita talaga tayong pinabi-billboard talaga. Like ipa-billboard mo, go. So yeah, so because profit motivates, and also profit motivates content, no? So what does that mean? So like if someone if a media or something is posted in media, and they someone is planning to post in media and they think that they're gonna profit or they're gonna gain a lot from this. So they will they will post it because to thrive, for the business to thrive, And also there's this thing, let me show you this. Can you tell me what could this be? I don't know if you got it, but this is clickbait. Why is there clickbait? Well, because if you click something, a YouTube video baka, or an article, they're gonna gain something from it. And most are using these public figures or influential people, why is that they use those faces so that more will click? Well, it's because power and influence also matter. The more powerful that person is, and you put it in your thumbnail, and then you're gonna click it, they're gonna gain profit. The maker will gain profit. Yeah, that's most media messages are organized to gain profit and or power. So yeah, that's that's our 5 core concepts. So we've discussed it, but why does it matter? Well, it matters because it helps us detect information, because now we know that media or someone that created the media can choose what to exclude or what to include. Yeah, and everything that media has, that you can use different kinds of colors, filters, and anything, camera angles to attract you. But it to attract you, to attract you, but it's misinformation that will. Now that we know the core concept, now that we know that media does that, we can detect it. Yeah, it also, and then now that we know it, we can avoid manipulation, and also it makes us think critically. And also, because of that, we become responsible digital citizens that doesn't share anything that you see. Like, come on, people, verify it first, okay? Yeah, so that's all. I hope you've learned a lot from it.
Thank you, Sammy. I hope you guys learned a lot from our discussion. Because now that we have covered the 5 core concepts of media and information literacy, we need to transition from just understanding the media to understanding the universe we actually live in. Why do I call it the universe? Well, because we aren't just users of media anymore. Let's be real. We live inside of it. Take note that most of us already has phones or digital devices. And to some parents and teachers, this is a sort of distribution factory. Why would they say that? They see doom scrolling and constant chit-chat. Diba? Because usually, parents see us use our phone to doom scroll or chit-chat, so it takes away our focus, or it distracts us from doing our responsibilities first. But to us, you could say it's our everything. It is our research lab, it is where our social life happens, and it's a portal, or our portal to the world. Ariel, portal to the world? What portal and what world? Well, Hugo Moliero calls this the portal to the Transmedia Universe. This means the information doesn't stay in one place. So, you might get an information from Facebook, or it might be from TikTok, or it might be in your own classroom. So, the big question today is, are our schools helping us navigate this universe, or are they afraid of it? I am Ariel Berisi Gamala, and today I am presenting School and the Transmedia Universe, a brief statement about fear. The classroom is no longer a physical room, but a complex network of simultaneous learning. What does he mean by this? What does Moliero mean by this? So, Moliero states again that the classroom is no longer just these 4 walls. Instead, it has become a complex network of simultaneous learning. If you think about it, before, learning was simple. So, the teacher spoke, and the students listened, and maybe some raised a hand. But now, in a transmedia environment, learning happens everywhere, all at once. So, meaning, while a teacher is lecturing, one student might be fact-checking them on Facebook, or another has already watched a related clip on YouTube the night before, and maybe someone has already heard the summary of it in a study group that he joins in. So this happens that so information is no longer coming from one single authority. So it's coming from a whole network. So does this answer the question that what Transmedia Universe is? So real, what is it? Sure. So what exactly is Transmedia Universe? So and how does it actually work? To give you a clear picture of how stories and information move today, let's take a look at this.
What is transmedia? Transmedia means across media. In the context of the language of film and television, it relates to transmedia storytelling and transmedia marketing. It refers to stories and fictional worlds that develop in multiple kinds of media or media platforms, such as print, movies and television, video games and apps, and physical objects like toys and collectibles. Transmedia storytelling is a win for both the producers and the fans. Think of the big intellectual property franchises that span all of these media types, like imaginary worlds with wizard schools or battles between good and evil in space. The creators/producers tell stories in a larger context of characters, events, and places that the audience/consumers can watch, listen, read, play in, collect, talk about, and imagine. The producers can sell multiple media forms that appeal to many types of audiences, and the fans have more ways to enjoy and participate in what interests them. Each film or TV series that is part of the intellectual property can stand alone and also adds to the larger whole. The different media platforms give multiple entry points to the larger story world, and audiences can then move from one medium to another. Some of the franchises that are popular transmedial successes have become cultural touchstones people will have in common in childhood and beyond. What is transmedia? Transmedia means across media. In the context of the language of film and television, it relates to transmedia storytelling and transmedia marketing. It refers to stories and fictional worlds that develop in multiple kinds of media or media platforms, such as print, movies and television, video games and apps, and physical objects like toys and collectibles. Transmedia storytelling is a win for both the producers and the fans. Think of the big intellectual property franchises that span all of these media types, like imaginary worlds with wizard schools or battles between good and evil in space. The creators/producers tell stories in a larger context of characters, events, and places that the audience/consumers can watch, listen, read, play in, collect, talk about, and imagine.
So, as you can see, the video says that this is a win-win for fans. But if we put it in the context of school, this can feel like a threat. Why? Because we have shifted from being just a passive audience, just listens, to active participants who can find information faster than a teacher can speak. So that is the root cause of fear. So like the video says, again, a transmedia universe is like a puzzle. So we don't just consume information, we follow it as it moves. But how did we get here so fast? So that is where the pandemic slides in. Before COVID-19, schools were slowly adjusting to technology. Some were even banning gadgets, and usually it was during our elementary days, we only have computer labs. But when the pandemic hit, it was a noisy and rushed incorporation of technology. So teachers had to be suddenly some sort of content creators. They do video lectures because we cannot have face-to-face, and students have to become independent learners. We have to learn on our own and learn through what they give to us, modules, And So we were thrown into an infodemic. So an infodemic, as we know, is a situation where there is too much information, but not given enough guidance. So yeah, we were given the tools, but not the skills to use them safely. And now, take a look at this example. So this post was posted during pandemic, February, as you can see right over here, February. So the context of this post is that in order to fight the COVID-19 symptoms, you need to just drink hot ginger tea and avoid cold, cold drinks or food. Would you guys believe that? Some might believe it, but again, this is not true because um, experts actually said that there is no scientific evidence that it actually does fight off the symptoms of COVID-19. And the World Health Organization already advised those people who feels the symptoms of the virus to just get it checked and stop relying on home remedies or myths. Now, this brings us to our core issue with this, which is fear. So, let's be real. The fear doesn't come from hating technology itself. It comes from the fact that technology is changing the teacher's role, changing what they have been taught the past few years. For a long time, the teacher was the gatekeeper of knowledge. So, if they didn't say it, if an information isn't stated, it's not part of the lesson. But now, a student with a smartphone can contradict a teacher in brief time. So, this creates a fear of losing authority. Teachers are no longer the only experts in the room, and that traditional power dynamic is being challenged by the device you have in your pocket right now. Take this for an example. So, the students ask, how do you explain today's lesson as different than what's on Wikipedia? So, he is challenging what the teacher just talked about. Since what the lesson the teacher was giving was some sort of not connecting or like not within the same how do you say that? It's not the same information as what was given on the internet. So that creates fear of teachers. So what is the solution? What if they turn the fear into something else? What if instead of not allowing us to use gadgets, they take that as an opportunity to include something or like something or make something that benefits them also. So here we go. This is navigation over prevention. So, sorry. So what's the solution for this? So Valiero states, he's very clear about it, navigation over prevention. It's because schools can't stay oblivious. They can't just ban devices. Instead, it must teach us how to navigate the infodemic safely. So we need to move from being a passive audience to being an active participant. So we need to embrace technology as a learning environment. If you guys could remember our Lord with Sir Peter, it is actually an example of embracing technology, because rather than Sir advising us to stop using social media and focus on other stuff rather than that, he actually took that as an opportunity, took the opportunity of knowing that us teenagers use social media a lot to make a Facebook group and interact there. Next, teach critical thinking. This is so they can spot fake news. So actually it's also a topic in our MIL. And another is encourage student participation. So this is so that we can learn together. So it is also a practice so that the students don't only again only as a passive learner, but they're also an active participant, so they contribute rather than just consume information. So that is navigation over prevention. Because again, schools must avoid remaining oblivious and instead teach students how to navigate infodemic safely and efficiently. Because let's be real, um, stopping digital emergence is just the same as stopping a big wave with your own hands. You are trying to stop the inevitable. It's no use. So, in conclusion, media and information technology is not just a subject. It is a fundamental right. So, we are living in a transmedia universe, and education must stop fearing the network and start helping us navigate through it. So, they must help us stop being a passive audience and instead turn us into active participants. So, that's all. And now that we have understand this reality, the next question is, how do we actually become responsible digital citizens? How do we actually apply that? To answer that, I pass the floor to Rainier. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Today, I am going to present and discuss the study entitled Citizenship and Digital Literacy, a Pedagogical Approach. Now, this topic is highly relevant today because, as we all know, we are constantly surrounded by digital technologies, and the way we interact, learn, and communicate is heavily influenced by the online world. Now, before I'm going to discuss this further, I'm just gonna give a slight background on who the author of this study is. So the author of this study is Adriana Poydros. She is an Argentine educator, researcher, an expert in education policy and the history of education, who strongly advocates for accessible and equitable public education for all learners. Her work focuses on how education systems should adapt to the modern societal changes, especially with the rise of technologies and their impact on students. Okay, so let's now move on to the topic. So, what is it all about? So, this study mainly focuses on teaching the importance of digital literacy within education, but more importantly, it emphasizes the need to develop responsible digital citizenship among students. So, in other words, it is not only about teaching students how to use technology, but also about teaching them how to behave responsibly and ethically while using it. Okay, so here's the comparison between the old technology and the new technology which we all have today. Okay, so in the past, technology was limited to traditional tools like this keypad and old computer. Now I'm sure that we all are familiar about this phone right here, which provided information in a much slower, controlled manner. So, but however, in today's modern world, we now have access to smartphones and an advanced computer than before, where we can where information and information can be shared immediately and more widely. So because of this shift, students today are exposed to massive amounts of information, but not in all information they see is accurate and reliable. So, the digital context of this study is that, as I've said earlier, we are currently living in a digital context where technology is rapidly expanding and continuously evolving, making it easier for people to access and share information. We now have social media apps like Facebook or YouTube. So, but however, this also leads to a serious issues such as the spread of misinformation, fake news, and strong media influence that can even shape people's opinions and beliefs. So, this is why it is important for us individuals, especially students, to develop digital literacy skills. So, what is digital literacy? Digital literacy refers to the ability to effectively use digital tools and technologies while also having the ability to find, evaluate, and analyze information critically. Sorry about that. Okay, so it means that a person is not only capable of using gadgets or the internet, but it is also able to determine whether the information they see online is true, reliable, and supported by credible sources. Here, I have an example, so all you have to do is identify whether this is real or fake. Here, I'm gonna give you a few seconds to identify if it's real or fake. Okay, so at first glance, this post may look real because they use official logos of Comelec. They also use formal language or edited images that may appear professionals. But however, when we analyze them carefully, we can identify why this post is fake. First, the wordings in the post is informal. Here we can see in this part here it says please inform your family ASAP. You see the grammar error. It says here please inform with ED, and also it uses words ASAP. Now, why is this informal? No, not everyone has access to technologies, and they may not able to know or understand what's the meaning of ASAP. And also, the post has no credible sources or lacks evidences. Lastly, there's no official statement coming from the Comelec. Alright, so with this, that is why it's important for us to find information, evaluate them, and analyze if it's true or not, so that we cannot be misled. Okay, so for instance, if we check the official websites or verified social media pages, it is clear here that no such announcements was posted, which clearly proves that this information circulating online is false. This shows how important it is for us individuals, especially students, to verify information before believing or sharing it. Okay, so next. Okay, so what is digital citizenship? Digital citizenship refers to the responsible and appropriate use of technologies, especially when interacting with others in online environments. It also involves understanding one's rights and responsibility, and as well as practicing respectful and ethical behavior in digital spaces. Okay, so let's now move on to the next slide. Okay, so here are the 5 online etiquette laws, which I have discussed in the previous slide about the one's rights and responsibilities and the online etiquette laws. So firstly, I'm just gonna present. Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna present only 5 laws of uh, online, because there's many more other laws, but I'm just gonna pick 5 because I think that I cannot cover all of them. Okay, so here, firstly, be respectful online. Now, what does this mean? Being respectful online means treating others the same way you would in real life. Even if you disagree with someone, avoid insulting, mocking, or attacking them. You should avoid it. Online spaces can easily turn toxic, so showing kindness and understanding helps create a safer and more positive environment for everyone. Second, I think this is the most important one here. It says, before you post, you should think. You should ask yourself, is it true? Is the information I'm about to send or I'm seeing is true? Is it hurtful to others? Is it necessary to see this kind of post or share it? So that is why it is important for us to before it is important for us to think. Thirdly, protect privacy and security. Never share personal information such as your address, passwords, or private details online. While also respect other people's privacy. Don't post their pictures or information without their consent. Fourth is avoid plagiarism. Now, when sharing information or posts, you should always give credit to the original author, because because copying without uh, the permission of the original owner is not only dishonest but can also have a serious academic or legal consequences. So instead, you should cite sources properly and create your own original content whenever possible. And lastly, we should use appropriate words. The words you see online matters a lot because tone can be misunderstood in text. So we should avoid using offensive, vulgar, or harmful language that could hurt others. Instead, we should choose words that are polite and clear, so the message you are trying to say is understood without causing unnecessary conflict. Okay, so by practicing all of these behaviors, you can help create a safer, more respectful, and more positive online environment for everyone. Now here I have an uh, example of violating all those laws. Now here I think this is one of the major issues right now, because the major issues here is cyberbullying, where individuals use digital platforms to harm, insult, or intimidate others. So even though this stuff happens online, the emotional and psychological effect on the victim are very real and can be very serious, and sometimes leads them to death. So this is why, as users, we should always practice kindness and respect when interacting online and use the 5 laws in online spaces. A good citizen, a good digital citizen must first treat others with respect, act ethically when sharing or creating content, and also take responsibility in protecting both their personal information and the privacy of others. Here, these three actions may seem simple, but they play a very important role in maintaining a healthy digital community. Okay, so the main argument of this study is that of Adriana Poiger's study is that digital literacy should uh, not be limited to simply knowing how to use technology. Instead, it is being digital literate. Now, what does it mean to be digital literate? It is by uh, respecting others' information and yes, respect others' personal information. Secondly, we should share contents that are reliable and trustworthy. And lastly, we should interact with other people in online spaces so that we can create a much safer environment and create a positive environment. Okay, so the proposed pedagogical approach of this study is that education should integrate both digital literacy and citizenship education rather than teaching them separately. She also emphasizes the importance of encouraging students to actively participate, collaborate, and engage in meaningful learning experiences that are connected to real-life digital situations. Additionally, learning should be social and interactive. Now, who agrees on this? That we all want learning to be interactive, right? So that it allows us students to reflect on our actions and our decisions. Here, I have an example of within Philippines that proposed that approach. Here, an example of this approach can be seen in the Ordanesa city, where it promotes responsible digital citizenship. Now, according to an official government publication, Ordaneta City emphasizes that our children today are digital natives, highlighting the reality that young people today are deeply immersed in digital environments. Now, because of this, their programs focus on guiding students to use technologies responsibly, critically, and ethically. Okay, so here the challenges of the digital age. Now, what we can see here is that seems like this is taken from an internet cafe, where we can see here kids and even adults is using technologies irresponsibly, where we can see here they're playing games. Yes, they're playing games or other sort of things. Though I'm not saying that playing games or doing other things is not good. It is just that they should use it responsibly, or otherwise it becomes addiction. Now, even the World Health Organization identifies this as internet gaming disorder, which is really bad, no? That is why it is important that for us to use digital technologies responsibly. Also, one of the challenges we face today are also fake news. Now, this is commonly found on Facebook, no, where we see posts or information that are fake and not reliable. No, as we can see here, fake news spreads more spreads more than genuine one. Okay, so moving on to the next. So the educational implications. So because of these challenges in the previous slide, education must focus on strengthening students' critical thinking skills and encouraging them to participate responsibly in digital spaces. Students should be trained not only to consume information but also to question, analyze, and verify it before accepting it as true. Okay, so in conclusion, digital literacy and citizenship should be connected, because learning how to use technology is not enough without understanding how to act responsibly within society. So, by combining these two, students can become responsible, critical, and active participants in the digital world, which is the main goal of this study. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned something valuable from my discussion.